Hey guys, Joseph here. Today we're just going to quickly look at something. Let me just quickly get to this. All right, there's a video I saw online by how I see that word, and this is what we're going to be looking at how to create this, how we can use Turbulence FD to create a floating car that has this more like a rocket um, effect. So you can see that. So if you see this, you can see the effects which we are going to be looking at. So this is what we're going to try to create today. And I hope this is you're going to learn from this. So let's just quickly get into it. All right, so let's go to Cinema 4D. So I already have a model that I downloaded from free3d.com. So you could just go to free3d.com and download this model. And I've done some tweaks to this model. I have done some things to it, and I've also animated this. So this is what we are going to be having. So this is the animation I have for this. You can see I've already done the animation. So all we need to do is just quickly set up our turbulence simulation on this turbulence FD simulation. So we are not talking, since we are talking about the simulation, so I just went ahead to set the whole model for the purpose of this simulation. All right, so let's quickly get to it. So I'll pause this and let me quickly take a sip of water, and then we'll quickly go into this. So just give me a minute, please. All right, okay, so we are here. So what I'm going to do first off is to create my simulation. Sorry, plug in Turbulence FD. Let me just bring this up. Create a container, and let's see the container. So right now you see that the container is slightly small, so we're going to scale up this container. So I'll just bring this up. So let's try 500, maybe 1000, so we know this will encompass everything. Okay, so we can bring this somewhere here, just the height. So we can bring the height to 400 and move it up. So let me see the position. Okay, so this is fine. So let's just bring this down to 250. All right, so since the car will not float more than this, so we can just bring this down up to this. All right, so yeah, we are fine with that. So the other thing I'm going to do now is to look at the value right there. You can see the value has gone up to 16 gig. I've also mentioned so much about this, so I'm going to put the link in the description for you to understand what these things do. So I'm going to increase this voxel value so that my simulation cache will not be this high. So if I bring this to 5, 159 megabytes, not bad. So let's try 4 to this mega. Okay, so I think 4 is fine. By the time I'm going to 3, you're saying I'm almost 1 gig. So I'll go with 4 centimeters. So I know my system will still work well with this. So, but for this purpose, let's just try 5 so that we'll be fast with this. So once I'm done with that, the next thing I'm going to create a floor object that I want to catch this. So I'm going to create a plain object to serve as the floor. So we have this, bring this, make sure it is within this simulation. All right, so once we have that, so let's start setting this. So if you look at that object, you notice two things, that you have two channels there. You have the temperature channel and the, what's it called, the density channel. So we're going to make sure we had these two guys here. So I'm going to first off create the simulation, what I'm going to simulate. So if you look at it very well, the technique here is I'm going to be making use of a particle to generate this many ignition there. So I'll start with, so I can just quickly hide this for a moment and create a, where are you? particle emitter object. So the emitter object is what I'm going to be using here. So let's just quickly hide this also and see what this emitter object will do. So if I play, I have this particle flying now. I don't want the particle to move that close. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push this step further. I'm going to increase the speed of the particle. So, and if I go to the speed, I'll make this speed somewhat 500 and randomize this. Maybe let's try 10% and play. You notice I have that. So that's the first thing. Maybe 500 might be small. Let's try 800. I want them to really shoot fast. All right. So now once I'm done with that, the other thing I want to do is notice that this continues. I don't want it to continue. I want it to die at a particular point. I don't want this to just continue that way. I want it to die. So then also the lifetime, notice it stops at a particular point. I'll make this lifetime, let's just say 1000. So we know that within our frame it still continues. It doesn't stop. Then sorry about that, I'm missing something. That is for the stop emission. So we're going to make the stop emission 1000. So we know that it continues all through the frame. So you notice it will not stop, it will continue emitting that particle. So the other thing is the bit rate. So we can increase the bit rate to, let's say, 1000. So we see we have that. So for the editor and also for the render, we want to have 1000. So we are saying this is fine. Another thing I also want to do is I don't want this to emit all the way. I want it to die at one point. All right. So that will be on this lifetime. So I want it to die at, let's say, at every 60 frames or 40. So we'll try and see what we get to have. So we'll randomize this also 10% and let's see what we have. So I think 40 is too much. I want it to die somewhere here. So let's try 20. 20 is still too much. Let's try 10. Okay, so this is beginning to give me what I want. So this dies very fast and that is what I want. This is very fine. Then we randomize the timing and every other thing and that solves that. So if I wanted to move at a particular angle, I can also come here and do that, but we don't need that. This is just what we want here. So once we are done with this, we can bring up the Camaro car. And the other thing is this is too large, so we can just bring the emitter, scale this down a little bit. And let's see what we have. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to bring this emitter and make it a child of each of these tires. So I've already broken this tire down, so I have them. So I'll just, let's work with the first car here, the first wheel in front here. This right here, we can bring this as a child of this. Okay, so once we do that, we will zero out all this value to bring it to that same position. So what we're just going to do, just rotate it to come here 90 and still maybe bring it out a little bit, then scale down. So what I want to do now is, let me stop this for a moment and look at the animation. The animation starts, I don't want this to emit until after this tire turn. So you notice this is where it ends. So I want it to start emitting at this point at 16. So what I'm going to do is go back to because if I play this now, it starts emitting at 0 frame and I don't want that. No, I want it to emit at that 16. So what I'll go to this emitter is come to the particle. I'll go to the start emission, make it 16 frames. So it won't start until 16. All right. So, and also because I've made it a child of this, it follows that tire. All right. So that is that. Okay, so this is fine. We are done with that. So the other thing is, let's bring up this. So we see, okay, I think this is still much. So we can just bring the lifetime, bring it to 5, and let's see what we have. Okay, so this is fine. This is fine. So I'm just going to do this, maybe the front two tires because of the simulation time and all that. So you just, all you need to do is just duplicate around and simulate. So I have that. The other thing is for this, so I'll just duplicate this and bring it as a child of that and zero out the coordinates. And then if you notice the position is wrong for this will emit up. So we need to change this position. So we just bring this 90. So it comes down also. So it's the same thing you're going to do for every other part of this tire. So let me just work with this simulation. So we have this. So we know that everything is within this frame, this container. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select the two emitters. So you can actually add this tag to the emitter. So once you add this here, and make sure you just have this tag added. So we want to add two channels. We want to add temperature and density. So I'll just make this 1 and 1. So those are the only two channels that I want to add. So the other thing is I want to make this car. I want it to be a collision object and also the floor. So select this floor, right click, do this here and make this a collision object. All right, so then do the same thing for these wheels. Right click on them, make them collision objects. And so we don't really need to add any channel because we don't want them to emit anything. We just want them to be collision objects. So, and also in my previous tutorial, when I talked about the tube, passing gas into the fuel tube, remember I said for the gas to go through the tube, you have to make it have a thickness. So one of my viewer told me what to do, and I really appreciate you guys. So for that, so that means what I should have done was to come here and activate the what is it? The cache collision. So I should have activated that. So that will also cache my collision. That's very important. So I didn't do that. So thank you for the heads up. So you do that. So let's quickly look at this container. So we'll come to the container. Since we know we need the temperature and the density, so those are the only two things we want to work on. So let me create a new simulation. So go over to the temperature that is active, the density, I need to activate that. And also notice something, I want this to emit downwards, right? So I want this to emit downwards, and that is coming minus y. So that means if you come to this and then this is emitting upwards, so I don't want it to emit upwards, so it's going to be minus 1. Yeah, so for the density is fine, this density is coming down, but the temperature is going up. So that's the first thing. The other thing is, if you look here, I want the temperature, sorry, the density to diffuse, to cool off in time, to cool off fast. All right, so or we could just make it, if you look at this end here, so the thickness is not that much, so you have a less thickness. So we could just look at how to simulate that here. Okay, so if we come to the temperature, we have the speed here, and also we have to add speed to this also 2020, and that is solved. So let's add a turbulence. So we should just make this, let's try 40. And what channel do we want to show? So let's show temperature. For the vorticity, we can bring this up to 16. Also want to affect the temperature also. Then for the turbulence, I want the smallest size to be, let's say 12, and the largest size to be let's say 30. Okay, so we have that. Sorry. So let's just quickly see what we get to have with this. So I want this temperature to dissipate, to cool off faster than the density. So we just bring this up to 5. So this will cool off faster than this. Let's try 8. So let's simulate this and see what we're going to have here. So if we come here and create simulation window and just quickly cache this out. So let's see. Render framework does not match projects simulation cache. Okay, so all right, so let me just abort that. This is new, so I don't know why I'm having this error. So let me just delete and create a new one. Okay, what else? Viewport on temperature, we want to see temperature, nothing here. This density, and that's fine. So let's see what we're going to have again. So let's just start. Let's just see what we have. I think it will start. So starting. Okay, so let's hold on for it. So I'm just going to pause this while this goes up because I'm doing two different things here. Just hold on for me. All right, guys. So I had to abort this, and for some reason, I'm noticing stuff that I'm still having that error that I had then. So if I play, you notice this is coming, and I'm liking this, but then it's not really interacting with this floor. So even though I have this collision check, so I don't know if you have a solution to this apart from the one I always prefer. Maybe you could just show me. So I think I will have to, my last resort will have to be my own solution. So since this didn't work for me, so I don't know why I have that. There any, so there is no collision cache here. That's the only place where you have collision cache. So I'm going to go back to my last resort. So uncheck this and select this floor, hold down Alt, put it in a closed object and just add thickness. So that is my own solution. Then I'll transfer this tag over to this. So let me do another simulation and see. So let me create a new cache and do another simulation. Don't mind that. Okay, so we'll be back for that. All right, so we are here. So if you can see, let me just bring this back. This is what I have. So you see this reflecting and interacting with the floor. So I like the fact that it's also interacting with this wheel, and because of the rotation of the wheel, so if I quickly hide this floor, because of the rotation of the wheel, so you are seeing this interacting also with this the geometry of this wheel. So it makes it realistic, not just coming up and you don't see that also interact. So that is what I like about that. So I just felt I should quickly show you how this is done. So you can now decide to say, okay, maybe if you want this smoke to come more, you can reduce the dissipation timing here. So if you feel you want more of the smoke, you can just come to the dissipation and maybe make it 1 so it doesn't die fast. So that means you have to resimulate because right now it's playing from cache of what we have already simulated. So you could just do that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add this to emitters to the other two tires and resimulate and then bring it back to us for us to see. I don't know if I would want to time lapse that. Okay, let me just time lapse this and you see how that is done. All right, so I'll close this now.